Bill Gates explains why he is not part of the problem even though he uses a private jet that pollutes and flies to Australia to talk about climate change. Bill Gates said that Australia has a huge role to play in stopping climate change, even though he flew there in a private jet that uses a lot of fuel. But he says that he is not part of the problem with private jets polluting the world because he works hard to make up for the carbon emissions he causes. The co-founder of Microsoft went to Australia at the end of last month on a private jet that cost $70 million and burned about 1,700 liters of fuel per hour. After getting off the private jet, Gates went to the big business-funded Lowy Institute think tank and the ABC 730 report show to talk about the dangers of climate change. He told the Lowy Institute, climate change is not yet having the negative effects of a disease like malaria, which kills 400,000 children a year. Climate change is worth putting a lot of money into because it will keep getting worse over time. If you let global warming get too bad, all kinds of natural ecosystems will die out and you won't be able to work outside in many places around the world. So farming wouldn't be possible in the tropics, and you wouldn't be able to work outside for most of the year. The next week, in an interview with the ABC 730 report, he said, "We will have to adapt while we do everything we can to get our emissions down to zero as quickly as we can. Australia has a very important job to do. It's very lucky, because it will have some of the cheapest renewable energy in the world." Gates said, "I think Australia will be able to export green hydrogen and other clean products." When asked how Australia could be a global climate leader while still being one of the world's biggest exporters of fossil fuels. It is definitely a country where there are more chances for a green economy than in the past. But Gates' climate philanthropy and his love of luxury travel on private jets have led critics to call him a climate hypocrite. They don't understand how the multi-billionaire can preach about lowering emissions while choosing to fly privately around the world. In an interview with Amol Rajan of the BBC earlier this month, Gates was asked how he responded to people who called him a hypocrite because he used his jet. The BBC's Amol Rajan asked Gates, "What do you say to the charge that if you work to stop climate change but also travel around the world in a private jet, you're a hypocrite?" The billionaire answered by saying that he throws money at the problem. He said, "Well, I think the gold standard is funding Climeworks to do direct air capture, which is a lot more than what my family does." Gates then talked about how much money he has spent on climate research and how he can do his job better when he goes to the places where his companies are doing research. He said, "I put billions of dollars into climate innovation. So, do you think I should stay at home and not go to Kenya to learn about farming and malaria? Anyway." He also said that he was part of the answer. "I mean, I'm fine with the idea that I'm not only not part of the problem by paying for the offsets, but also part of the solution by spending billions of dollars through my breakthrough energy group. A single private jet releases as much carbon dioxide in an hour as the average person does in a whole year. Private flights are 14 times more polluting per passenger than commercial flights." Gates, who is the fourth richest person in the world, went to Australia in January with people from his organization Breakthrough Energy. This group's goal is to drive innovation in sustainable energy to help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. On the Great Barrier Reef in Queensland, Gates was seen relaxing on Lizard Island before taking one of his two Gulfstream jets to Sydney to meet with Anthony Albanese.